You ready?
Yeah.
Put my phone away. Put it on silence.
Cool. Alrighty. Hello. This is episode 8 or 9 of Meals for the Meals, and today I have the most esteemed and welcome guest, Gray Midnight. Gray is a world traveler. He's a world-class surfer from the landlocked state of Idaho, and he's also a bar owner. Gray, what are we cooking today, and why are we making it?
How's it going, folks? Gray here. Great to be here with the great host, Emile. Can't get enough of this guy. I love him. Today we're going to be making a really special dish. This is a potato casserole, or as some might call it, scallop potatoes.
Okay.
This is a dish that me and my siblings and my family too, my grandparents ate growing up all the time. So it hits home, brings back memories, and it's super easy, cheap dish to make. So we're going to try our best to recreate it as what I remember.
Sweet. All right. Well, to start off this episode, we're going to kick it off with a cold one. Cheers. Gray, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, of course, dude.
All right. First up, let's outline kind of like how are we going to make this meal? What's the thought process
steps.
here?
So steps here, I would say, first things first, potatoes.
Okay.
Let's get those chopped up. Maybe while I'm chopping potatoes, you could be in charge of making the roux.
Okay.
And then after that, we can place this. And while we're placing it and getting it pretty before it bakes, you can maybe cook the bacon.
Okay.
So I would say first things first, we'll start chopping and you can start making the roux.
Sweet. Okay. All right. I've already washed this potato, so if you're good to go.
They're ready to roll.
You're ready to go on that?
Okay.
You feel comfortable?
I think we're
got
ready.
A knife right there.
Okay.
So let's just get into this. So
what happens if I chop my finger off, Emile?
It's ill-advised.
We're good. I didn't. But
I would just
close,
not do that.
We almost just had a short episode.
What'd you just do?
We almost just had a little backlash.
Oh, shit.
It's okay. I know how to use a knife, I swear.
I'm glad you didn't do that.
Yeah, me
that would
as
have
well.
been unfortunate.
That would have been really unfortunate.
So is there a cutting technique to this, or is it just thin slices?
I would say that you want generally a thin slice. I always get rid of the butts first because, butts need love, but not these butts. And then I like to chop them. I don't know. I would say like a quarter of an inch, probably somewhere around there.
Okay.
Like, you want it thick enough to where it can absorb the juices, but you don't want it too thin to where it's like mush,
Okay, so juice absorption is
it's kind
essential.
of a hard key, though. I'm gonna be honest. This is the first time I've cooked this dish without my mom. So
really?
Without the guidance of her, we're gonna try our best. I think it's gonna turn out good. But
I hope you survive this.
Yeah, me too.
She better watch this afterwards.
Oh, she definitely will.
Just be like, what's going on?
This is gonna be circulating around the household for sure.
How much butter do you think you can use a whole stick of butter? I think that seems appropriate.
Probably, realistically.
But damn, I feel like
I would say so. It's gonna be quite a bit of butter.
Okay, we love butter.
We do. Butter's good for you.
Butter is healthy.
Yeah.
It's an unknown fact, but it is healthy for you.
Yeah, good fats.
Regardless of
whatever people tell you.
Exactly. Okay, Gray, I got my first question for you.
Let's do it.
So your bio on your Instagram has a bunch of flags. I'm assuming that those flags are all the countries you've traveled to.
Exactly.
Can you please list out every single country you've been to?
I can. It might take me a quick sec. But
okay, that's all right.
It's good if I can use my fingers too because I know the number. So I've been to. Let's start north. So I've been to Canada.
Okay.
And then I've been to Mexico, I've been to Panama, and I've been to Ecuador. So that covers North and South America.
Okay.
Those are all the places I've been. I've spent a lot of time in Mexico, though, obviously. And then I've also, in Europe, done Germany. I lived in Italy for a long time.
Okay. How long was a long time for you?
Well, after I graduated high school, I'd spent 7 months in Italy, which is quite a bit of time. It was like the first time ever leaving the country.
That's a lot of time.
So
that is a lot of time.
7 months in Europe. Italy specifically, but
that'll do.
I did a lot of traveling. So we got Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, England, Portugal, Spain. What else? There's one more in Europe that I'm missing for sure. Netherlands. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did say Netherlands.
I did say Netherlands.
Yeah, you did.
Did I say?
Portugal,
I rode
Spain,
my bike to Belgium.
Okay,
I don't think it really counts as going there, but I did.
No, that counts for sure, dude.
I've been to Belgium. I rode my bike to Belgium one day, and then I've been to Malaysia and Indonesia.
Okay.
and I've spent a couple days in Taiwan, but I don't count that because it was like airport stuff. So
Oh, okay, that doesn't count.
so I've been to like 15 countries about.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy considering I didn't start traveling until I was 18.
Really?
Like, I had never even left really Idaho.
And how you're 24 now, 25?
25, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's a lot of countries.
That's what I'm saying, man.
To cover in the past couple years.
It's been quite the journey. So yeah, all those flags in my bio reference the places that I've been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did COVID slow you down when that happened?
So
Quite a bit.
Here's the thing about COVID. Like, it happened when I was in Mexico, which was kind of freaky because none of us knew what the fuck was going on. So, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, that's chill.
Sorry. So that was definitely a little freaky because like no one knew what was happening. Like, is this serious? Is it not serious? So my parents were panicked and they were like, "Oh, you need to get home like ASAP." So I actually ended up coming home from Mexico 2 weeks earlier than I originally planned.
Okay.
And this is what I'll say. It was weird because like COVID affected the bar experience more than it did my travel experience.
I believe
because
that.
The actual year of COVID, like about 6 months after when COVID was happening and we were in the heat of it and such, this weird shape here. We'll figure out.
You can just ignore that for
We'll get to him in a second.
Yeah. We'll deal with that.
We'll use him later.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that, folks.
All right, we'll leave that right there.
But yeah, I would say actually one of the coolest years of traveling was during COVID. Because I was in Mexico at the time. I spent like 5 months there during COVID, and dude, there was nobody down there. So it was like paradise all to yourself.
That's so sick.
And it was so fun because like the community was so small at the time because it wasn't a bunch of tourists. Like, dude, I got to know everybody really well too.
So did you hang out with all like the local population?
Exactly.
That's
which made it like super fun. So I would say that COVID definitely tried to slow me down. It had me scared for a minute, and then once I realized I had a little idea of what was happening, I felt a lot more comfortable going back down there and living life.
Okay, so you did fly home to Boise.
I did, yeah.
And then you went back down.
I went back down.
At what point did you decide to go back down? Were you like, this is appropriate to go back down?
I would say like I was probably home for like a realistic like 6 months before I decided to leave again.
Okay.
I felt like that's
a good amount of time.
It is a good amount of time. And even then, I mean, shit, dude, it's crazy how long the pandemic lasted because it doesn't feel like it lasted that long, but it did, you know?
Why did you feel like you were comfortable at 6 months to go back?
It wasn't even necessarily a timeline. Like, I wasn't like, oh, like 6 months, then I'm good. Like, then I'm safe.
No, I didn't imagine.
It was more so just like, at that point, I realized like my family wasn't gonna die. Like, people weren't murdering each other in the streets. Like, I didn't feel it. Like, because at the beginning, you never know, dude. It's
well, it was super sketchy in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, you have no idea. Nobody knows what the hell's happening. So I was like, oh, well, I need to go home and make sure everything's okay. And once I had that reassurance that it wasn't that big of a deal, I was like, okay, I can go travel again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's totally cool then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, that's pretty good. What is your favorite country that you visited and why?
Oh, man. That's a hard question that I get asked all the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's only hard to answer because I think like every country has something good to offer, you know?
Totally.
So I would say that I kind of have to give it like a category list, you know?
Okay, that's cool.
So like as far as like going for a new culture, being around like amazing food and just like history, Italy, like 100%. Italy was so cool, and like it's just crazy how much like ancient history is there.
And was that your first country that you ever visited?
Yeah,
that was not the US.
Exactly. Yeah. So
okay, that's pretty impactful then.
Dude, very impactful. And I'm an Italian, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that explains the olive colored skin.
That explains the olive colored skin.
The beautiful hair. Lots of things are explained by that. Okay, so Italy was your favorite.
I would say Italy feels so memorable because like there was so much beauty, so much history, so much to do, so much good food. There's culture, like beautiful women, beautiful people, like everything about Italy was epic. So like in a sense, yes, but then there's also a piece of me that wants to say that like Indonesia was the coolest country because the ocean was amazing and the waves were insane and like the how foreign it was, because Europe still feels kind of home, you know?
It's pretty Western.
It feels pretty homey,
it's Western, yeah.
Whereas like in Indo, you're like, oh, dude, this is like a completely different world.
It is a different world.
A way different world.
Yeah.
So I would say like, yeah, if we're given like, Italy wins overall for like food, culture, stuff to do. Like if I was going to give like a new time traveler place to go, I'd be like, yeah, go to Italy. You'll have a really good time.
Okay.
But if you're a little more of an avid traveler and you're down to get out of your comfort zone, I would say going to Indonesia is a great cheap place to go like see some stuff you'll never see in your life, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty cool.
sick.
Yeah.
What was maybe your least favorite place to travel? Now, it sounds like you've enjoyed everywhere you've went.
Yeah.
But certainly, some places are better than others.
Sure. Okay. When I spent like a week in Malaysia, and it was epic. Like, it was super cool because I'd never been to an Asian country like that, and I was in the capital of which is Kuala Lumpur, which is like humongous, dude. Like, a huge city. So like that was not necessarily my vibe. It's not my favorite thing.
You like the smaller towns?
I kind of prefer like the more like chill lifestyle a little bit more. Yeah. Over anything, you know. So that was not my vibe 100%, but there was still like so many good things there that like it's hard to say it was the worst.
Sure.
But it's up there. And also I'm going to say the UK too. Like there's the UK, like it's awesome. And like I got to go to see Stonehenge and like that blew my mind.
Pretty
and
sick.
There's a bunch of badass things there, but like overall, like people in the UK and like the food and the vibe in the UK, it's not the coolest.
Really?
I mean, it's cool to go, but still, like if you're trying to go travel and see some cool stuff and like eat like cool good food, I wouldn't put that at the top of my list, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair. Quick question for you: Is this roux the appropriate thickness? You feel like? Should I make it a little thicker?
Do we need a little bit thicker?
Do we need more liquid as well?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more butter, a little bit more.
Okay, we'll go half butter,
a little bit this. Yeah,
we'll add a little bit of all the metrics.
I think that's a good.
Do you feel like we have an appropriate amount of potatoes
I don't know. I think maybe one more potato and we're going to be good.
Perfect.
But I don't really know. This might be plenty.
No, you know what?
You can't have too many.
Mess around and find out, man.
Yeah, we'll cut up one more of these potatoes and then we'll start layering this.
Perfect. Okay, so UK and Malaysia
are not my favorites.
They're not great.
Yeah,
but they're just not your favorite.
Yeah, if you want to go to an insane giant city that like never sleeps, then go to Malaysia. And then if you want to go somewhere where people have bad teeth, you can go to England.
Damn.
Yeah,
the Brits really got done dirty.
Yeah, they really did. Unfortunately,
that's too bad.
There's still some cool people there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said your favorite was Italy.
Yeah, I would say Italy is my favorite overall, probably, but then Indonesia comes in a close second, or maybe even a tie. It just depends on what aspects you're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, because they both vary, you know?
Sure, totally. They're very different countries.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You already alluded to this earlier, but I was going to ask you, have you ever left a place early? You left Mexico early during COVID, but were there other situations where you're like, we need to get the F out of here? Like, this is not it.
Not it. Yes, actually, there has been. When I was traveling in Ecuador, there was a handful of little towns that we stopped in and like hostels that we stayed in and stuff that were definitely like fucked. Like I stayed in a hostel once in this place called Ayampe, which is like a tiny place in Ecuador, and it's like a cool surf town. But like my sister and I stayed in this 2-bedroom, and it was literally like a concrete box, 2 beds, and like barred windows.
Shit.
And the amount of mosquitoes and how hot it was, like. It was one of those things where like we ended up waking up like at like 5 a.m. and like leaving.
Just saying our day. It's not it.
It's just, like we couldn't even sleep. So that was like probably, and also actually I stayed in a hostel in the fucking UK that sucked so bad and it had bed bugs.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's a trip ruiner right there.
That is a trip ruiner. So that sucked, and we ended up leaving that one. But like I've never been to a country where I've been like, oh, this place sucks so bad, like I need to get out.
Not like you need to leave the country.
Yeah,
you need to leave where you were at.
Maybe leave the place, but to leave the actual country, I don't think so. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Wow. Bed bugs and then a sketchy hostel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of sketchy hostels I've stayed in, but like this one was specifically like the worst.
Okay.
It was a take home the cake.
So you being a world traveler, you know, where'd you get your kind of inspiration to travel the world? I think a lot of people are scared to leave home.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people are like afraid of kind of uncertainty. I think that's very normal. But where did you get this desire and this hunger to go travel the world?
Good question. I would say like most of it comes from my sister because she started traveling after high school and she ended up living in Italy.
Okay.
And then she lived in Asia for like 8 months. So like
That's sick.
Yeah, she did these like crazy stuff, and I saw all her pictures and I was like, wow, like this looks amazing, so fun.
Totally.
And I was like, well, I can do that too, because like why not? She's my sister and she's doing it.
You can just go live with her or whatever. Well, just go do it.
Not only that, it was just like it was like the sense of like, well, if she made it happen, why can't I make it happen?
Totally.
So I would say like definitely her, but then also there's like you know like who Anthony Bourdain is.
Yeah.
People like him, dude, like so influential. It's like this person literally has the coolest life ever. He gets to travel, meet people, eat food, do fun things. Like,
sure.
And I'm not doing it for a living by any means, but it's still cool that I'm able to go and like do a completely different life for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, that's totally cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sweet.
How did you set up your life to be able to do that? Because I feel like that's really difficult for people to do.
It is.
It's like, I have a full-time job. It's like, I couldn't just leave and go to a different country.
I would say
so how'd you do that?
Mine's very situational because I'm a seasonal worker.
Okay.
So since the bar that my uncle and I run together is only open 6 months out of the year, it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Okay.
Whereas I would say if you're somebody that has a full-time job, especially at home, you know, like you have to be there, that's going to be a lot more difficult.
That is hard.
But at the same time, I've met a ton of people who have like decided to go, you know, whatever it's called, remote, and made it so that whatever job they're currently doing is just remote. So like, there's always the option. You can really make it happen if you desire it.
If you pursue it.
If you're locked into a job like that's so deep that you can't leave, that's different. But like, if you are willing to leave your path and like go try something else, you know, I think that there's plenty of opportunity to do it. And then also, if that's not really your goal, just know that like you can save money and travel. Like, it's not as daunting and as expensive as people make it out to be.
Really?
No, I mean, if you're smart about it, you really don't have to spend that much money. So I think traveling is like really good for that reason, because it'll make you learn how to spend money too appropriately. Which is a good skill I've gotten from it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Can you give some examples of like learning how to spend money appropriately?
It's just being frugal, like budgeting. Like, if you know you're going to be in a country for 6 months and you have X amount of dollars, you kind of have to say, okay, how much can I spend each day, like, to make it so that I can be here the whole time comfortably. And that's also like a great feeling, you know, too, is like that's knowing totally cool. Like, oh, like I made this much money. I worked hard. I got all this money, and now I like can actually enjoy it.
You can use it however you want.
Yeah,
that's totally cool.
And that's the biggest thing of why I travel so much out of the country, and I've spent so much time specifically in Mexico. I've spent like almost 2 years there.
Wow,
which is crazy.
That's a lot, dude. You're only 25. Yeah, that's a lot.
Cumulative. I've spent
2 years
like
of your
2
life
years.
have been there.
Exactly, a lot of years. So because of that, I would say like definitely, yeah. Kind of got a brain fart.
It happens, man.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, but it's been good, man. I think that anybody can do it. It's just like going to places that are cheaper is going to make you more successful.
Okay.
If you're trying to go longevity travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's my tip for longevity travel. Pick a spot that's not going to be super expensive so that you can actually enjoy yourself. Because if you're going somewhere crazy expensive, you're not going to last long, you know?
I was going to ask you, what's a travel hack that you have? That's a good one. Do you have another one?
I mean, dude, there's a ton, honestly. Like, definitely, like, booking places for longer stays is going to be cheaper always. So, like, a good thing that I'll do is I'll find a place on Airbnb, and then I'll message the person outside of it, or on Marketplace and message the person outside of it. And you can make them a deal with cash, and you can say, I'm like, well, if I stay here X amount of times, can I pay you this much cash straight up? And people generally want that always, instead of like Airbnb taking a 20% fee or whatever.
Totally, yeah.
So I would say message people outside if you're able to, and set that up. And then also, dude, Google Flights has the craziest cheap flights. Like, it'll show you the calendar. So like, using Google Flights and picking your flights appropriately is what I've always done. And I've found crazy cheap flights because of that. So, and then, like I said earlier, picking a spot that's not expensive. Like, we'll research the country, see how much your currency is compared to their currency, and then also decide, like, look at hostels in the area and restaurants there, and see how much like average food is and stays.
Okay.
That way you have an idea of what you're getting yourself into.
Okay. I love it.
Hey, should we roux this?
Shall we roux this?
Yeah, we got the cheeses over here.
I've got a couple varieties of cheeses.
Got sour cream too. Okay, we're in this bitch, dude.
Okay, so how much roux do we apply? Just like a...
I would say like a gentle amount, like enough to soak it.
Soak it?
Yeah, probably.
Is that a word?
Probably soak it a little bit.
Soak it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gray, you are a big surfer.
For sure.
And I think that's probably one of my the most interesting things about you is like you're in Idaho.
Yeah.
You know, we're a landlocked state.
Definitely.
How'd you get so into it? And I think you've done a lot of your traveling around it, has been my impression.
Yeah, I have, for sure.
How'd you fall in love with it being in a state that probably isn't the most like enabling?
Yeah, good question. So I would say I really didn't ever have an idea that I would like surfing that much. Am I about a frame right now?
Yeah, okay, come back into frame. Yeah.
I really didn't have an idea that I was going to like surfing that much. Like, it always seemed cool because I mean it is cool. So like growing up when I saw like surf videos, because I grew up skating and snowboarding, so I was like, oh, like surfing, that also seems pretty sweet. It's in the same realm.
You're kind of in the culture. Yeah, it's the
It's
same
in
culture.
the same realm. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. But then it was like, as soon as I went to Ecuador, which was when I was 19, I've only been surfing since I was 19, so it really hasn't been.
Wow. Okay, so
it has
6
not,
years.
Yeah, it hasn't
almost,
been that
yeah.
long. You want to help me layer this bad
Yeah,
boy?
dude,
If we
please
just
let
get
me-
like some thin boys and we can just kind of
Okay.
stack them over.
I like that idea.
So it was really just more of like being fascinated with that. I remember going to Ecuador and seeing people surfing, and I was like, oh, like I really want to try that. And I got absolutely humbled. I was riding like a humongous board on like giant beach break, and I was just getting tossed. I remember, and like
a small one, yeah.
Just getting humbled, like absolutely humbled, you know?
Yeah,
which is good for the soul. But
it is great for the ocean's humbling,
dude. It's insanely humbling.
It's like the ocean's pretty fucking scary, in all honesty.
It really is. So let's rue it.
Okay.
So yeah, I was definitely like, yeah, like I want to try this, and then I was like, oh my god, I suck at this. It's insanely hard. But it was kind of one of those things where I saw how much fun other people were having, and like when I actually did first get my first like ride on like an ankle high wave,
addicting.
I was like, oh, like that felt so cool. So I was like, oh, I want to keep doing this. And what ended up happening is I left Ecuador, so I only surfed for like 2 weeks. That was my first time. I got like 2 weeks of surfing. Left Ecuador, came back to the States, and then planned on going back there and learning how to surf. So then when I was that was when I was 18. So then when I was 19, I went back to Ecuador and I spent 3 months there surfing every single day and figuring out how to surf. Bought like a shorter board, you know.
That's sick.
And dude, it was awesome because that was like, Ecuador really has a special place in my heart too, because I met like so many amazing locals when I was there by myself, and these are people that I still talk to today.
Really?
Like on Instagram. Like these connections that I've made with people still exist today. And like some of these people are like 40-year-olds that have like children and stuff.
Really?
Like there's no like border. And that's one of the great things about surfing too, that it brings people of all different ages together,
totally
you know?
Cool.
So yeah, Ecuador is just like, it was so amazing to learn how to surf there because it was super humbling, and I sucked at the beginning. And coming from a landlocked state, I never thought I would ever surf. But after I like tried it once, I pretty much just got addicted, like most people do. And yeah, I've planned my 6 months out of the year around it now.
Okay, so that's what you do. So during the winter months,
exactly,
you will
travel.
Yeah.
So make money in the summer, travel in the winter type deal.
Do you feel like you miss out on? Do you have like a feeling of like missing out on a lot of stuff in Boise because of that? And then does it maybe like make you sad to leave ever, or are you just like, you know what, it's just part of the lifestyle I want?
Yeah, I was gonna say the biggest thing I ever miss is my family or my friends.
Totally.
So I'm like, if it like those are the things where I'm always like, oh, like I really miss my family today or whatever. Especially because I've been gone for a lot of holidays.
Sure.
You know, so that definitely makes me miss Boise in some sense. But I would say for the most part, like I'm so happy to leave here every time, and not in a sense that I don't like Boise, but just in a sense that like, oh, I get to go like do something crazy and fun, like, which is awesome. So yeah, I definitely have moments where I'm like, nice, dude, look at that,
this is gonna be good.
This guy knows.
I'm so excited,
dude. Yeah, we actually might need to cut more potatoes now that I'm looking too.
Okay, well that's all right.
Yeah,
we got extra potatoes for that reason.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the gist.
What have you found? Is traveling? You've traveled alone for most of it. Have you found that to be pretty lonely, or how do you navigate that? Is that not too bad?
Definitely. I mean, honestly, there has been moments in my travels alone where I'm like, oh, I'm fucking like bored right now. Like even though I've done it, like I'm in an awesome place doing stuff, I'm like, damn, like it's, you know, because your company is great to have on your own. Like learning how to enjoy your own company too is such a
blessing. That's hard to do too.
It is a humongous lesson,
especially with social media.
Oh, dude,
it's super difficult to understand.
So like being able to find peace just with like what's around you, and also being alone and not having to rely on other people to keep you entertained, it's pretty
big
huge
lesson right there.
Yeah, so I definitely like that I learned that through traveling alone, and also just the fact that you're forced to go get out of your comfort zone. Like
that is cool too.
You have to go out and meet people and do stuff. Like it's either that or you don't do anything,
or you're gonna be bored to tears.
Yeah, and dude, it's crazy. Like all these countries I've gone to, I have these like lifetime connections with these people now, and it's like these are people that like, you know, just randomly met out of nowhere, and now they're friends for life.
Yeah.
So it's daunting at first traveling alone. I know that it sounds like super freaky and scary, but
yeah,
I think once you do it and realize like, oh, every time I do this, I always have a good time and meet the right people, and everything happens for the right reason, you know? I think after you realize that, then you're like, okay, I'm not as scared to go back.
Did you like kind of like your view of the world change when you first started traveling a lot? Because I know
for sure.
it's definitely a little bit shocking the first time you travel, like leave the U.S. You're like, oh, what we do is maybe not normal. Everywhere.
For sure, compared to what other people do.
And then you're not very sure of yourself potentially. You just graduated high school. It's like you're a young guy.
Yeah.
And what was maybe the most surprising thing about like going to other countries? Like, what was like a great lesson that you learned?
It's a great question. I would say at the beginning, maybe and it's not even that I was ignorant. It's just I didn't really realize that there was so much going on out there. And like growing up, I kind of had this idea that like the world revolved around the United States.
It's hard not to have that thought.
Yeah,
I will say
it is. It's so easy to think that. Like you're like, oh, like we're like the most powerful country, so obviously everything revolves around us. But once you travel, you realize that nobody gives a shit about the United States.
Fucks, dude.
And you're like, oh, okay, so actually, like we all have our own problems, and nothing is more important. Like everybody's got their own shit going on.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one of the things I'm most grateful for is it made me realize like, damn, there's like a lot more hard shit going on. And also like, as far as like politics and all that goes, it's like, dude, there's so many people out here and we're all just trying to do our best. So it's like, I try not to, dive too deep into that stuff. Cause it's just like, God, dude, traveling outside of the world, like some of these people literally have nothing. They live in shanty.
Dude, they do.
So it's like, when you see stuff like that, you're like, oh wow, my problems actually don't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really like obsolete compared to what's really going on in the grand scheme.
Yeah. I feel that. I'm stressed out about potentially buying a house soon.
Yeah, that is stressful for sure, but it's also like it's a blessing of a stress.
It's a great issue to have.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm freaking out that I am gonna own property like and have a good cozy house.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've learned is that people, like also I've learned a lot about myself too. Like I've learned that like. Like maybe you think sometimes that people are always like thinking about you or like you're like, oh, are my decisions okay? Like or like you're like disappointing people, all the above.
Totally.
Traveling's definitely made me realize that like at the end of the day, like nobody cares too much about what you're doing. Like you really should be doing what makes you happy because everybody's just in their own world doing their own thing.
Everyone's trying to figure out their shit.
Exactly, man.
That's a really good point. That's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
That's a really hard one. What do you think made that clear to you at that point?
We might as well use all this cheese.
Yeah, use all the cheese, bro. Use all the cheese, bro.
Oh man, this is gonna be delicious, people.
I'm so excited.
This looks insane. Dude, should we put some like sour cream on
there? Yeah,
maybe?
dude. Yeah, right here. Okay. And then you'll need a spoon.
I'll need a spoon. It's okay. Take your time on that.
Sour cream spoon's gonna be this spoon.
Sorry, what was your question? What was
your when did you learn that lesson of other people are worrying about their own shit?
That was more so in Ecuador. Like once I saw that too, like Ecuador was good because I saw people of a completely different culture living their lives and realized that like, oh wow, like my life's way different than most these people, and there's a lot of these people.
It's insanely different. It's like not even comparable.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a big one. Oh man, we're getting messy over here.
Oh shit! Look at that. Let me grab the paper towel, but keep talking about that, man.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna try to apply. Right now we're slathering the sour cream on it. I'm gonna be honest; it's not looking super pretty, but I think
you're killing it. Keep it up.
Oh man, it's kind of globbing a little bit.
Let me grab a spat.
Maybe a spat. If we got a spat,
and then I need to grab.
And then, like, as far as being comfortable on my own, I would say Ecuador too. Just like, like every day you kind of got to plan around yourself and do your own thing. And then after a while, like when you get out of high school, it takes some time, but you kind of realize like, oh, everybody's literally doing their own thing. So it doesn't matter that much. There's so much like societal pressure that you have to do A and B to be successful and happy. Whereas like, that's not always true. And I think the sooner you figure that out, you'll stop comparing yourself to others and then feel a little bit more confident in yourself. And, because it's so easy to think other people are thinking about you or that your decisions are wrong.
Damn.
And I don't think that that's always the case, man. I think that everybody else has their own shit going on too. And we just think that people are thinking about us and maybe they're not, man. Maybe they're just going through their own shit.
We do project a lot of our insecurities on other people.
100%.
And then back onto ourselves. And it's really interesting.
Exactly. That looks like an appropriate little dollop.
I like the little dollop.
Yeah,
that's nice.
That looks nice.
That's nice. Wow, that is a really and you kind of figured that out at 19, you think?
Yeah, I mean, more or less, and this has been like a lifelong thing. Obviously, like it's something I'm still working on today, but I
Yeah.
definitely like found like solidarity in being alone. Like I was like, okay, like I don't need other people around me all the time to be entertained and be
Yeah.
happy, which is great if you're gonna travel. That's like my biggest tip is like be able to be okay on your own because you will be alone
Yeah.
and you won't be alone. And so, but enjoy the moments when you are too, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Trash cans to your left too.
Awesome.
If you need that.
Thank you, boss.
Wow, that is such a wonderful lesson.
Yeah, dude, that's what I would say. That's definitely one of the biggest things I've got is like being accepting of everybody's cultures and what they have going on in their life, and knowing that like the world doesn't revolve around you, and then also being kinder to yourself and other people, and realizing that we all have our own stuff going on.
That's cool. What's been the hardest lesson? Was that the hardest lesson, or like because it sounds like you learned that one kind of early and often, and it's always a constant reminder when you're traveling on your own as well.
I would say like the hardest lesson. Honestly, I think one of the biggest things is just like how privileged that we are. You know,
That's a good one.
That was one of the lessons like that like I really got, and like I'm not even from like a crazy like fortunate family, but like it's insane compared to some people how amazing life is. You know? So that was the biggest thing, just like going to a third world country for the first time is being like, man, you almost have guilt because your life is so good, and you see these other people that are really living hard, and that's like one of the biggest lessons I've learned is just like to just like know what's happening around you when you're traveling, because like there's a lot of shit going on that is kind of sad sometimes. You know? Dude, what do we got going with the crackers here? I gotta ask you.
So okay, so I was thinking about the crackers. I was thinking a crumble on the top.
This guy knows what's up.
Get it a little crispier.
Okay, so this is my idea. We're gonna pull that bacon out in a second. I'm gonna chop it up.
Okay.
We're gonna bits it. We're gonna gram it, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven for like 30, 45 minutes, and then we're gonna chow this thing down.
I love that idea. We're gonna get the rest of the roux on it.
Yeah, we're gonna
drench it. We're gonna drench it with roux.
We'll roux it up now.
Okay. Early roux.
We're gonna should we roux it right before we put it in? Should we roux it before we put it in?
I think so.
Okay.
That just seems right.
Yeah, it does. I feel like it's like, yeah, that's true.
Okay, that's a really mature lesson.
Yeah, man.
That's intense, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
It's a deep one, but it's true, man. It's definitely true.
And that's a hard one to learn as well. I think a lot of people are very uncomfortable being alone.
Yeah.
And it's funny. One of the things I tell a lot of my friends, I shouldn't say a lot of my friends. A lot of people think that they're going to find happiness in other people as well.
Yeah.
And I find that if you're not happy on your own, you're definitely not going to be happier with them.
Yeah.
Because you're unfulfilled on your own.
It's a huge lesson, man. I struggled with that in past relationships before, where like, you can't really fulfill somebody else's needs if you can't fulfill your own needs.
Yeah. Finding yourself in others is just, it's a very, it's not a solution.
No, I think that's a good point too. And I learned that while traveling too. It's like, you think maybe like, oh, you need this person to be like okay or happy, or like vice versa. Like this person needs you to be okay and happy. But I think at the end of the day, it's just like finding happiness in yourself, and then you'll find it in somebody else.
Yeah.
What do you think, boss? Do you think we should just throw that bacon on there? I bet it'll bake in the oven. It'll cook, right?
Well said.
Yeah.
Should we chop it up, or should we just lay it on top?
Lay it on top.
Okay. All right. Let me put this bad boy down.
Actually, maybe we should chop it though, just so we can get bites.
I kind of agree, but I'm also like, you know what?
Chopping hot bacon.
Chopping hot bacon with hot oil just sounds like a little sketch.
Really fun. Yeah, that's true.
So we're gonna go for this. This is what we call the doctor.
Okay, so we're gonna throw one of these slabs. Whoa. We're gonna throw a slab across.
You want to bring that thing a little closer to me?
Yeah, we got it.
That way we don't got just drippage everywhere.
So we're slabbing it.
I want to go like that.
Yeah.
Or go,
oh yeah, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and flat.
Well said, Gray.
Okay, we do that.
Number 2.
Oh man.
Okay, this is looking promising.
Y'all see this?
Oh. Okay, here we go. Last one.
Let's go.
A little close towards the edge, but I don't think there's going to be any issues there.
All right, so now we're going to do the final rouing. We're going to roux it a little bit, and then we're going to crush some graham, and then we're going to throw this bad boy in the oven.
Heck yeah, I like this idea. Oven's already on. It's hot. It's ready to go.
Okay.
I'm just going to take these in the container and just give them a little.
There we go.
A little.
Nice. This guy's got a technique, folks. Watch.
Listen, you guys.
He
It's
knows
simple.
he knows what he's doing.
I'm gonna give you a little ASMR right now.
Yeah, you are. Nice. Look at that, dude.
Dude.
This is gonna be so good, guys.
Well done. Okay.
Sprinkle those bad
I
boys on
feel
there.
like this is crumbly enough.
I think so. Oh man.
It's funny, on the last episode I had of this, I had Stuart Boyd on. You know Stuart.
Yeah, of course.
And we made a chicken casserole.
Nice.
Chicken jalapeno popper casserole.
Ooh.
It's pretty freaking sick.
I bet. Was it good?
Yeah, it was delicious.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna go put this in the oven.
Okay.
Great.
He's gonna throw it in. I'll be here.
You talk about something interesting about yourself.
All right. Let's see. What can I tell you guys? I'll tell you something kind of interesting. So when I was young, I used to live on a potato farm, and it actually had some of the most potatoes that are like all around the world grown there. So that's kind of a cool fact. But I was only for 1 year of my life, and I was very young. But in Burley, Idaho, I lived on a potato farm where they grew these potatoes probably.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Fun fact.
That's a great fun fact.
It is.
Okay. All right. So I've got a couple of these questions on. Is communication ever a large like barrier when you're in a different country, and then how do you navigate that?
I would say like communication definitely can be a barrier because, yeah. Wait, hey, does Brooks know where you live?
No, definitely not.
I gotta send him your address.
Okay, you can send him a text. I'm
gonna
gonna put the timer on.
You gonna edit this?
Oh, we can. I'm gonna put the timer on for 30 minutes.
We have a slight intermission, folks.
Just a quick one. Don't sweat it. I'm gonna clean some of this up.
All right, so my current location.
Dude, the navigation of this location is some of the most retarded shit I've ever done in my entire life. Because it's like, it doesn't take you to the right spot.
Wait,
ever.
I dropped him a pin. I'll see if that does it.
I know, that might do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, it's difficult to tell people where I live.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's annoying. But all right.
This potato casserole is going to be bomb.
I am really excited about the potato casserole.
Yeah, this is going to be super good.
Okay. All right. Next question. So, okay, we talked about communication being an issue. How do you kind of navigate that?
Okay, communication.
What do you do about it?
Definitely. I mean, it helps if you can speak some words in a normal language, in whatever the native language is, because it's going to get you a long way, even if it's just basic stuff.
They probably appreciate it when you do that too.
And they appreciate it. So, like, I would say it makes you look better, even if you feel like you're an idiot or you sound like an idiot. Like, the fact that you're trying is good. So, definitely trying to speak is good. But if you literally don't know anything, luckily it's the 21st century and we have phones and such. So, it's not terribly hard to navigate. But at the same time, it's really good to know a little bit of the language. Like, the amount of Spanish that I know at this point has definitely made it so much easier when I'm traveling.
Okay. What has been the hardest country to deal with communication-wise?
Definitely Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because it's like nothing I'd ever heard in my life. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. We have a surprise guest actually entering the stage. His name's Isaiah Grover. He's my roommate. He's a 6'5" D1 athlete for Boise State.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Isaiah, do you have anything you want to say?
No.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
We'll come back to him.
Well, he'll cut back later. Okay. All right. So communication, never too big of an issue.
No, but I would say in Indonesia it was hard because, like, I don't know, like they know really good English there for the most part, but at the same time, it's pretty hard to like know what they're saying at all. Whereas like sometimes in Spanish, even if you don't know Spanish, you can kind of pick out some things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge.
Have you ever had some serious whoopsie poos?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I have multiple times taken myself to the wrong bus station, I've taken train rides before that took me to the wrong spot. Like,
that's good.
This is Europe. This is everywhere. Like, just with traveling, you have to accept that you're always gonna fuck up and that like bad things are gonna happen while you're traveling. Luckily, nothing too bad has happened to me, but I've definitely had quite a few moments where like I was like, wow, now I'm spending $500 more than I should be because I'm an idiot. Yeah,
I'm sure that happens.
It does. So that's why communication can be a problem, because if you don't know really what's going on, you can end up screwing yourself over.
What's like the most dangerous spot you ever gotten yourself in?
Like dangerous is in like freaky, or dangerous is just like shitty?
Let's do both.
Okay. The most dangerous and shitty spot I ever got myself in was when me and my buddy drove a car from Idaho to the very bottom of Baja, Mexico. So we drove
Yeah,
all
it's
the
a
way
drive.
through Mexico. And when we got to the very bottom, we realized when we crossed the border to Mexico, we had to get a stamp on this piece of paper in order to take the ferry to central Mexico. Because you can take a ferry from Baja over to Mexico. It's a little like 16-hour ferry that swings around. So we were going to do the ferry, and when we get there, we realized the one thing that we need is a stamp on a piece of paper that is at the very top of Mexico. So this was super shitty because I literally had to buy a plane ticket all the way from where I was to the very top, get a stamp, and then buy a plane ticket all the way back.
How much did that cost you?
It cost me like $380. So it wasn't the end of
That's
the
not
world.
horrible, but that's
But
not
still,
optimal.
like, I literally just drove all the way down to the bottom of Mexico with the intent of having the car. So it was like that was the point. But then like ended up flying up and down for no reason. It was just like that was one of the most sour moments I had in
I'd be
traveling.
pissed.
I was just like I felt pretty defeated then.
So wait, so you drove down to the bottom of Baja, Mexico? You drove to the bottom of Mexico to go to Baja?
Drove to the bottom of Baja, Mexico to put the car on a ferry, and then the ferry would take us down to central Mexico.
I see.
Yeah.
Was Mexico ever sketchy? I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, there's cartels there." You know, the police are corrupt. Did you ever have to like bribe people to not?
You know what? I've been in a handful of situations that seemed like they should have been stickier than they were, and somehow was able to like manage my way out. I've been like cornered by like federales before, where I was smoking weed when this happened. I was smoking weed in the Mexico. These are all weed incidents, unfortunately, but I was smoking weed in a park in Mexico City, and a cop ended up approaching me, and he was like pretty upset and like told me I had to leave the park, and like there was a little bit of a language barrier at the beginning because I was so freaked out and I thought, oh, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
But what actually ended up happening is we became really good friends, and we like really hit it off, and it was all okay. Like he really ended up liking me, so that was like a good scenario. But I have bribed a couple cops driving before. Like down south, they definitely will take your money, so like it's good to just like have a little like safety stash. So, like if you're getting pulled over for whatever bullshit reason, you can hand it off and be on your way.
Do you give them pesos or do you give them USD?
Pesos for sure.
How much like pesos does it cost to pay them off usually?
Honestly, dude, like if depends. Like, dude, like it depends on who you are and what your situation is. If you look like you have a lot of money and it's a bunch of white people, you're probably gonna hand over like 1,000 or 2,000 pesos,
which is what, $20?
No, it's way more. Like that's like
$100.
No, that's like 50. Like yeah, like 1,000 pesos is like $50 more, maybe less, like $56.
Because I thought it was like 20.
Which isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
$56 to get out of crime isn't that big of a deal. But like,
well, it's not gonna arrest us. But
whereas like if you're like where I lived in the Sayulita, if you're like in like a local town, like you get in some trouble, if you hand somebody like like 100 pesos, which is like like $5-6, they might be like, all right, like whatever,
chill.
Yeah. But bribing, you can get your way out of stuff from bribing down south. It really does work. It's true.
It's funny. So that's something I found really exclusive to America, is that you really cannot bribe that many people here.
No, you can't.
Not saying it's a good thing, but
no,
like, you can't.
No, you can't.
But like you go to Mexico or you go to literally anywhere in Europe as well. It's like you can bribe your way out of a ton of shit. Yeah, it's incredible.
If you're in the wrong and it's nothing super major, there's usually a price to pay.
Yeah.
Which is a bad thing, to be honest. It's pretty corrupt, but it's nice if you have money.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, they're also only targeting you because they know you can pay it.
Exactly.
So it's like it's a little fucked, but
it is a little fucked.
It's legal bullying.
It is, but it's okay because you know what? At least you didn't go to fucking Mexican jail.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. I don't think. What's the closest you ever gotten to going to jail?
Dude, that's a good question.
Have there been close calls?
Nothing too close, actually. Nothing too insane where I was like actually freaked out, like, oh my God, am I going to go to jail right now? Nothing too bad, actually. But if you want a quick fun story.
I do.
I was staying in this hostel in Indonesia, and in Indonesia, marijuana is like extremely illegal, like pretty much like 25 years or death.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for any kind of
marijuana. So why'd you bring weed there?
I did not.
Oh, you
No,
did?
I stopped smoking weed
Okay.
completely.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in Indonesia, I was completely clean of everything. Like I didn't do anything at all. Like the whole time I was there, pretty
Okay.
much. But this is the story. There was a kid staying at my hostel from California, and his mom sent him a package. And when the package arrived at the door, he was like called out there to sign for it. And as soon as he signed it, he literally got rushed by like 15 Indonesian
Holy
police
shit.
officers.
Oh
And
my God.
this is what ended up happening. This brings back to the bribing part. This kid literally had the option to go to Indonesian jail for 25 years for having marijuana sent to him throughout the country, or pay a $20,000 20,000 USD fine.
No.
And he paid that 20,000 USD fine.
You just take a credit card out on that?
Bro, I think he came from
some.
some money because like it was definitely like a parents like wired the money over instantly type thing.
That's insane.
But yeah, so like that was the sketch. I saw that happen, and that was sketchy to me. Like it gave me anxiety. But one time me and some friends were at a surf spot, and we were in my friend's van smoking some weed, and some cops pulled up on us, and they started talking to me only because my other friends are Mexican. So they singled out the white guy, and like long story short, they ended up like asking me how much marijuana I had, and I was like, oh, like only a little bit, and they like just trusted and believed me and ended up leaving. But like my friends thought I was like God for the next week after that.
Really?
They were like, dude, like if you weren't here, like we would have gotten in trouble. Like
really?
Yeah, like saying we would have had to pay them something. Like there's no way we wouldn't have had to pay them.
Whoa,
So
that's crazy.
I guess there was that. That was like my closest time to where I was like, oh, am I gonna go to jail right now? But luckily nothing happened.
Did you finish smoking your joint right after that?
Pretty much. Surprisingly. Everything was well, like 10 minutes after they left. They didn't even take it. They didn't even take it.
They just wanted to know. They were curious.
They were just curious.
It's like a funny smell.
Literally.
What's going on? It's coming from this van.
They were just curious because we were parked on the beach. But once they saw we were like innocent, I think they realized it was all good.
Yeah.
But it freaked me out because my friends were telling me they were like federales. So like they weren't like cops, they were like cartel cops, which is like a whole different.
Oh, really?
It's a whole different thing. They're like the scariest ones, like the last ones you want to encounter.
Well, and they all carry around like
guns.
Guns.
They walked up to the car. They walked up to the car with a shotgun and like an assault rifle. Like, up to the van, they had them in their hands.
Yeah,
it was definitely freaky.
And you also know if they do shoot you, no one's gonna give two shits.
No,
they're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, like maybe there would be some backlash, but it wouldn't be anything major.
No serious backlash. Yeah, nothing like, oh, we're gonna riot in the streets. It's like, oh, this kid died.
Pretty much.
That's tough.
They probably cover it up pretty well too.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, he was smuggling drugs, and then the cartel cops bust him.
Exactly. So
that's funny.
That's one of the scariest situations I've been in, I'd say.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a pretty crazy one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to go to you. You're a part-time owner at this bar as well.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get into that? For people who don't know, getting a liquor license in Idaho. Do you have a liquor license?
No, we don't.
So it's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant. It's a bar, beer and food. Yeah.
Okay, so the people that don't know, the liquor licenses in Idaho work as a lottery system. So what you have to do is you have to apply for this lottery, and then based on the population in Idaho, they'll randomly hand out these liquor licenses. They cost how much? 500 grand?
Yeah, like 500 grand.
If you want to buy one from someone. So they're really rare. They're hard to get.
Yep.
And so, but you run a bar.
Yeah. So our bar does just beer, which was by choice. I mean, it would be great to have a liquor license because there's always opportunity for more money and stuff. But at the same time, like not having people drinking liquor in your establishment is a blessing.
It's also probably good, yeah.
Liquor just like makes people on a different level, and they're able to get drunk really fast. Whereas like it's hard to drink like 5 beers, like slam 5 beers in an hour.
Yeah.
Because 5 beers in an hour will probably get you pretty drunk.
Yeah.
But like 5 shots of tequila in an hour like happens quickly.
That's 30 minutes.
And then you're
minutes.
smashed.
Yeah.
Like so, we don't have a liquor license for that reason. And we've talked about opening another establishment in the future, near future, and we probably would do liquor there. But this one specifically is just beer. So it's pretty easy to get like a food and beverage license for anybody that's curious. And you can just get one. It does cost money, but it's not going to be $500,000. And you can serve anything that's under, I think, like 15% alcohol.
So what you can do is you can serve cocktails that are pre-made.
Yeah.
You can't make the cocktails.
No, they have to be pre-made, and they have to be under a percent. Because that's the realest problem.
I see. Okay. So what are some? So you can't serve cocktails that are above 15.
Mm-mm.
Are there a lot of cocktails that are pre-mixed that are above 15, or is that usually not too big of an issue?
There's a couple I know of that are like 14, but I have actually never seen a canned cocktail above
I
15.
haven't seen
I
one
don't
above
think it's
15.
legal, so that's why I haven't.
Okay.
I think there's some laws put in
Okay.
place.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so it is like he was saying, it's hard to get a liquor license and it's great, but we purposely decided not to do liquor because it just makes it a little bit more of an easygoing time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it stressful at all, or was it pretty easy just with your uncle involved?
It was easier. Like we had definitely like a great support system. We had a lot of people helping when we were building it. We had a lot of smart people that knew what they were doing, like
Mm.
good skills and stuff. So it wasn't like crazy stressful. And I mean, there was a lot going on, so I guess there was kind of some stress behind it. But I think like with how much help we had, it actually wound up opening way smoother than expected.
What was like, so from inception of the idea to when you guys opened, when did you guys open as well?
We opened in 2016.
Okay, so from inception, you
I
were
was
even 18,
18.
you were 18.
Yeah.
Was there any like legal hairiness there?
No, because the thing is that I invested in the bar, so it's not that I am an actual owner of it because I don't own my name's not on the licenses of anything.
I see.
It's that I invested in it, so it's I've been there now for 7 years, so I've been there since the first year pretty much because you can serve alcohol at 19 in Idaho.
That's right.
So when I was 18, the bar opened pretty much. It's a seasonal bar, like I was saying. So our first year open, we were only open for 2 months. The bar looked completely different than what it looks like now.
I bet, yeah.
It was pretty much just the container, and that was like the first year getting things going. The next year, when I was able to serve and I realized I was going to be in Boise a little bit longer, I asked my uncle if I could get in on it.
Yeah.
And that's when I put my money into it and have put my time into it since. And now it's him and I's.
Okay.
And it's grown so much. It's like way different than it used to be.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's for those of you who don't know, it's called Yard Arm. It is a surf style bar in Garden City, which is a slept on part of Boise. I think it's gotten really popular in the past 2 years.
For sure.
But it used to be kind of like, Garden City, I wouldn't go there.
It was definitely a neighborhood that people didn't want to be in, per se.
Yeah. And then what's happened is that as Boise's grown and developed, Garden City, especially the area along the Green Belt, which is a bike path in Boise that's really popular, and the development of the park around it, it's grown a lot in popularity.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that's helped you guys out a lot?
It has. Like, I mean, granted, we were already pretty busy, and like being in our location, it was like bound to be a good spot. But I think the fact that like the neighborhood has grown so much definitely helps, just because there's more foot traffic, more places for people to eat at. So it definitely is like one of those things where it's like, dang, the neighborhood's changed so much, but it's also like that's good because it's helped out, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, as a quick caveat to the listeners or viewers, Garden City has quickly become probably one of the most overpriced areas to live I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
It used to go from, it was like an industrial part of Boise for most of its existence. It used to go from industrial and like things being like dirt cheap over there because it was a little ghetto.
It was.
To now being like getting a house in that area is at least 3 times as expensive as it used to be probably 4 years ago.
Maybe
now
more than 3, maybe 5.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like, it's actually crazy. And it's,
so yeah, we actually got in at the perfect time. Like when we went in there, it was not what it is now, and it was a lot cheaper. So everything worked out for the reason it did. But it is crazy. Like this next weekend, there's Flipside Fest going on, which is like a humongous festival that Treefort puts on, and it's in Garden City.
Okay.
So it's like, damn, if you told me 8 years ago that that was going to be happening in Garden City, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, you'd have been like, who the hell is going to go hang out in Garden City?
So it has changed a ton, and it honestly is awesome. I think it's for like the best because there's a lot of the surf waves there, and then there's tons of cool places to eat at and drink at, and breakfast, coffee, all that. So
totally,
I think it's good overall, but it's definitely weird.
It's like, it's a little sad because we both grew up here, and it's like,
for sure,
we want to see things stay a little bit the same.
For sure,
you could argue, but it's also like, it is cool to see this place become,
what it is now,
a lot like nicer, frankly.
100%.
Even though it's more expensive, it's like, it's nice that we have the Wave and that we have a shop and a bunch of pretty apartments that are just dirt lots.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's a dichotomy for sure.
Yeah.
What is your hottest take
on
anything?
Anything. What? My hottest take. That's gonna catch me up. Like, all right, I don't know if I have a quick answer to that.
That's all right.
Give me an example of a hot take.
Okay. Boise growing rapidly is a good thing.
Okay.
I don't agree with that take. That's a hot take.
Okay.
That's a hot take.
Okay, so something on the line of that.
A little controversial.
Okay, let's see. What's a hot take? What's something controversial? It's good.
I'll think of one too. I'll think of my hot take.
I know, he caught me here, guys. I had quick answers to everything, but this one.
He's pretty good about the quick answers. I agree. I get a lot of out of people.
Right now,
and Gray's not
I'm
an
really
guy.
thinking a hot take. I mean, like, you could say something silly, like, I think pineapple does belong on pizza. I think it's really good.
But it's a completely appropriate hot take.
I don't know if
as
that's
boring as that is.
Yeah,
it's a completely appropriate
let's
one.
see, what's another hot take? Honestly, I don't know. It's hard to do a hot take without being mean sometimes.
You can be mean.
It's okay. You can be.
There's
mean.
no issue being mean.
I feel like a hot take is if your lips are huge and you have so much makeup on, just like, I don't know what's happening anymore. That's my hot take.
Well said.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, let's keep it natural.
I think the less is more. In most cases. In almost all cases.
That's my hot take. Think smarter, not harder. Less is more.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that maybe needed to hear that today.
I hope so. I hope that changed somebody's day.
I think the amount of people I've encountered that they think more is just better.
No.
It's frankly,
it's not.
Almost never the case.
Set yourself up with a frugal lifestyle where you don't need a lot. You'll be happier, I promise you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
How do you approach this lifestyle frugality? I think in America, we're very materialistic.
For sure.
And I've certainly found areas in my life where I'm like, oh, I want to be less materialistic. I want to like try to get rid of a lot of my possessions that I know I don't need.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also this flip side. I think you like to do a lot of things. It's like you also own a bunch of tools and you own a bunch of like materials, maybe.
100%.
So how do you navigate, your own hobbies and then try not to own a lot of shit? Because it's really difficult.
I would say the biggest thing for me is like, since I'm moving around so much, it's nice not to have a lot of things in the sense that I have to move them around with me. So in that sense, I've like really slimmed down on the amount of stuff I have. Just like kind of the bare necessities, like try to, if you can fit all of your stuff into like, like 2 truckloads or something like that.
Wow.
That's usually pretty nice.
Can you do that right now?
I can right now, which is super sweet. But that's because I've given up a lot of my furniture and stuff. It's harder if you have furniture. So like I have my bed stays with me, like my nightstand, my entertainment center, TV, like clothes, basic stuff. But those are all materials, and you got to have some materials in this life.
You do have to have some. You have to have a bed.
You got to have the basics for sure. But I would say like it definitely just makes things a little bit easier, especially with how much I travel. Not having a bunch of materials, it makes like everything easier. But as like somebody, if you are somebody that has a bunch of shit, I would just say like why, because like having so much stuff, you're never going to use it all. That's really the biggest thing. Like I have so many t-shirts and I feel like I don't wear enough of them. So like that's my material thing. That's my hot take, is that I need to get rid of t-shirts, but I won't.
That's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. You get these attachments to random things.
Yes.
So
that's hard too.
I think it's just like detaching yourself from like the fact that things are fake. Like it's way more cool to have like a conversation or cook some food with somebody than to like, spend your money on like an iPhone or something like that. Granted, you need these things here and there, but I'm just saying it's like you can prioritize where your money goes.
Where do you feel like you first cut out things that you found were like, this is not going to be fruitful to maybe fulfillment, or like not in fulfillment of maybe your goals in life?
For sure. I would just say like just deciding on what things you are going to spend your money on. It's not as much as like what won't I not spend my money on. It's what am I going to spend my money on.
See.
So it's like, okay, here's the bare necessities that I have to pay for, like rent, food, gasoline, insurance, that kind of dumb stuff.
Sure.
So once you have that figured out, then it's kind of like saying like, okay, like what do I need to and want to pay for now? What do I want to put my money towards? So for me, it's like meals. Like I like putting my money towards like good food, whether that's cooking or going out with people. And then entertainment, like buying surfboards or wetsuits or like whatever it is that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Fueling your hobbies. I mean, and granted, that's a material. Like putting your money into hobbies is material, but like those at least are healthy things that like are good for your brain and your body.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things you can put your money into that are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
What you're mentioning, try to pack everything up in 2 trucks.
For sure.
Do you have a twin or a full size bed?
I have a full size bed.
Not a queen, not a
I have a
king,
full size
a
bed.
full size bed.
Yeah.
XL, you get the extra leg room at the bottom. You like your feet to hang off.
No, I fit on there good.
Really?
Yeah.
Are your feet ever like? Because mine at the end of my bed are like, if this is my foot, it's going over the edge.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
What? No, you're not.
Yeah.
Really? I feel like you're taller than that. Oh, okay. Well, no, my feet don't hang off my bed, but maybe it's because I sleep in a little ball like a raccoon.
Are you like, you got a pillow like right here,
Oh
leg
yeah,
up?
like
I like that.
I'm very
form a
much
lot.
like pillow in between leg, pillow in between hand. Like I'm like I'm a
Do you have head pillow as well, or so
three pillow,
triple pillow?
so it's like one pillow under head, one pillow here, and then a pillow pressed against my
Holy
back.
shit, 4 pillow.
It's like it's a formation. So there's 4 pillows in the bed for a reason.
What is
this doesn't always happen, but I prefer that.
What's the density of your pillows that you enjoy?
So I have 4 pillows. 2 of them are like bamboo pillows, and they're like a nice kind of thicker but still soft cushy, you know.
Okay.
And then I got 2 that are like smushy pillows, like they like can go flat in the middle if you want them to.
Do you
like soft,
okay,
cold, smushy?
But like, so they go flat.
Yeah.
But they're not flat.
They're not flat,
like
but you can like push the feathers. Like I've had these pillows since I was like 12 type deal. You know?
Okay.
Like there's the newer ones that are like good for the head, and then there's the other squishy ones that I like to like maybe cuddle with a little more.
Do you like the? I like the flat ones for the head.
Yeah,
because it makes my neck.
That's
like
true.
This, and
I think that's why I like these bamboo ones though, because your head just kind of naturally goes to it, so you're already at a good angle.
Okay,
that's what I've noticed.
So non-flat pillow for
I would
head.
say I like a little bit more of a bump on my pillow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Curious.
Mm-hmm.
When you travel to these other countries, do you bring a lot of your stuff with you, or just bring clothes and your surfboard and your wetsuit, or what do you bring?
I bring one backpack that's probably about like this big.
Okay.
That I can carry on my back at all times. That has all my clothes, my passport, electronics, like everything in it. And then I'll have one board bag that'll have either 1 or 2 surfboards in it, maybe a wetsuit, and then like some other goods that kind of fit in there well, like whether that's like a beach towel, like just random stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I literally stick to the rule of 2. Like if you can carry your bag on your back and you can hold a bag, then you're set. But like anything else is just sucks.
I agree.
Traveling a lot like can already suck. So like being as light as possible will make you happier.
What are some travel essentials that people maybe forget that you'd or have there also been times when you've forgotten some travel essentials? Yeah. Like, shit.
I feel like it's good to just have like a first aid kit of some kind. Like you may not always think you're gonna need it. When you do, you're really happy you have it. So it's good to have some kind of first aid stuff, especially if you're surfing a lot. Which reminds me, I need to get one before I start surfing.
There we go.
Super glue is so important and all that kind of stuff.
What do you use the super glue for?
Just for cuts, like if you have like a minor cut, it's like it's just nice to be able to super glue and go surf again, like instead of having like this shitty cut to deal with. So super glue is a must. Like a travel kit's good just for safety items and stuff like that. Having a charger, obviously, like a portable charger that has good battery life is good. All your toiletries, but this is pretty basic stuff. Like things that I always wish sometimes I had like an extra towel. I was like, oh, like if I had a towel, I could like work out on it or like X, Y, Z. So there's always been that, but I would say like just having like maybe like some Advil with you or something in case you get a headache. It's just like the little things, like little amenities as far as like healthcare stuff goes. Sure. Like it's nice to have those things with you.
Yeah. Okay, I've got 2 kind of pivot questions. The first is, what time do we got left on there?
We got 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Can Brooks come in? Should we
let him
in?
Get him in.
We got a surprise guest coming in, ladies and gentlemen.
Is he at the right house? Is kind of the real question.
Yeah, I don't know, but
we'll find out.
3 minutes. So I say in the next like minute and a half, we go put the broil on. For like
I like
2 minutes, and we get the little crisp on the top.
Okay, this is a perfect amount of time. So then, first question.
Okay.
What is the hairiest situation you ever gotten into while surfing?
Oh, luckily I've actually never had any super crazy like physical altercations where anybody's like punched me in the face or anything, but I've had a handful of people, especially when I was learning, get very pissed off at me.
Kind of taking like their wave, or
or just being like a kook, just not really knowing like etiquette and like being in the way when they're on a wave, or whether I'm paddling around and I look like an idiot, or I jumped on a wave that somebody else was on. So I would say like I definitely got chewed out a handful of times by locals. I can't say one stands out more than others. I have them all in my head replaying right now. But I once, when I was surfing with this Australian guy, he was kind of being an asshole, the Australian guy, so it was his fault. He ended up getting punched in the face a couple times by a guy that was surfing out there. So
Really?
I know it gets pretty fucked up and hairy, but I've never had to experience anything too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know.
There we go.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say worry too much about localism. Just like paddle out and be nice, and if you kind of know what you're doing, you should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we broil on?
Let's go broil.
Okay.
We'll be right back, folks.
Okay. What's up, dude?
Dude, that gooch is sweaty. I hope the mic picked that up.
Let's go broil.
Let's take a peek at it though, real quick, eh? Oh shit, cousin, that looks good.
Dude, we're to fucking eat well.
Oh, I wonder if we put too much. No, there's no such thing as too much.
Butter.
Yeah.
It's possible,
It's possible,
potentially, but you know, we'll worry about that afterwards.
Also, if it's a little sloppy, it's no big deal.
Oh, I don't give a tit. Okay, we got that ready. All right.
Yeah, I would say the broil's pretty dangerous. So I would say maybe a minute.
Okay, I'm down for that. I'll set it up out here. All right, the last part of this is just we're gonna take a bite, and then I just want to walk through some like memories you have of like this meal, and,
for
like,
sure.
maybe anything that comes back to you that.
Mm-hmm. Did you get all your questions asked?
I was gonna ask what's a guilty pleasure. That's kind of a gay question, so
I have it.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go grab this thing out of the oven, but before I do, I'm gonna ask Gray one other question while it's happening. Hope that wasn't too confusing. What's a guilty pleasure, Gray?
All right. Well, Emile goes and gets that casserole out of the oven. I'll tell you my guilty pleasure. So I have an addiction to something called sugar. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but yeah, I live with this guy. His name's Brooks. He's kind of a piece of shit. So the problem is me and him fuel each other for sugar consumption all the time. So there's no end. So pretty much I can vouch that out of everything that I've done in my life, I don't have an addictive personality, but out of everything that I've done, sugar is the most addicting thing on this earth. I pretty much want it all the time. That's our casserole. And I've gotten better at managing my sugar intake, but at the same time, I will have to say that if I was on my deathbed and I got to pick one thing, it'd probably be a big plate of brownies. And there's a meal at the... Oh!
Look at this freaking... You guys. This is going to be dangerous.
Dude, that actually looks pretty fire.
This looks pretty fucking good, dude.
All right, it probably needs to sit for like 5 minutes.
Let's let it sit. Can we cut it up, or should we?
We should let it sit first.
Okay, let's let it sit.
Yeah, it needs to just kind of do its thing for a second.
Okay, I like that. The patient approach. That's a rare one, man.
Dude, I mean, it looks good, but it's bubbling in butter, so I think it needs to just cool for a quick second.
Let it solidify a little bit.
Yeah.
What has been? I'm gonna salt this a little bit too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, we probably
didn't even salt it.
No, I salted one layer.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But I think we can do. Your mom said, specifically in the text, a pinch of salt. Let's do that, and then I'm gonna get a little pep on. For those of you who don't know, today's actually National Hamburger Day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Wendy's and McDonald's, you get a free burger of the ham. Additionally, if you get an Oreo and M&M McFlurry, it's pretty delicious. So
if you order those, they're good too.
Throwing that out there for anyone that's interested.
So I think once the bubbles stop bubbling, we'll be good, and I can tell they're already starting to slow down. But this actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look exactly like Ma used to make it, but I'm not gonna lie, it looks really fucking yummy.
Okay, well I'm excited to hear.
We're gonna take a picture of it and send it to my mom. She'll be really happy.
I also forgot to mention, we have there's a special part of the show where you're able to take the camera at any point.
Oh yeah?
And what you can do is we will cut the film to match what your camera's doing. So if at any point in the last like 5 minutes of this interview you feel the urge to like take control.
That camera?
No, you take your camera, you film a video, and then
you'll cut it
I'll just cut it into the video. Perfect. Right there.
You got it.
Do you want another beer?
Yeah, let's crack one more.
Cheers. That is delicious.
All right, folks. I think
it's time.
We only need 2 bowls, 2 forks. We're gonna dive right on in. Honestly, there's no rhyme or reason.
Let me.
We can get the disher.
Got my serving
There we go.
utensil of choice right here. And we're just
Oh,
gonna...
that bacon seemed to have cut real good, which is cool.
The bacon looks interesting.
Dude, it looks right. It looks right.
Okay. All right. There's one slice.
Yeah. Dude, I like how the bacon's just breaking how it should.
That is nice.
That's how it should be.
Honestly, not how it usually goes.
Yeah.
Look at that. We got a little cheesy.
All right, folks. I don't think you
Goodness.
can see it, so I'm going to give you a POV right now.
Thank you for going up there and doing that.
But look, we got... It's kind of hard to see, but we got the bacon, we got the potatoes, the sour cream. Oh, it's literally falling apart into layers. Guys, this... I don't know about you, but this looks really good.
Did you take a bite? I'm slightly worried now.
Do it with your phone, right? Uh-oh, are the potatoes cooked through?
No.
They aren't?
I don't think so.
At all? Tender. Are you sure? One sec.
Let's find out. Might need to go back in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, some of it is good.
Some of it, like, it tastes good. Don't get me wrong. It's like butter.
There's pieces of the camera or of the potato that are completely cooked and good.
There are.
Yeah, I think the pieces I didn't slice thin enough are the ones that didn't.
Okay. So pro tip: when you're slicing it, thin
slices.
Okay. Girl, hoping to what are kind of some thoughts that you're having while eating it?
Okay. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I just got a really good bite. So, even if some of those potatoes aren't all the way cooked, that was really fucking good. And I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay.
Especially these little thin pieces with the sour cream.
The thin ones with the SC are pretty damn good.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of a throwback here, just because I ate this so much, so it's kind of bringing back some memories of, my family and such. Mom definitely made it better, but
fuck you.
Overall, pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh.
That's with not all the potatoes being completely cooked through.
Wow, that's pretty good then.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, Gray. One final question. We're about to send this out to the world. What's something you want the world to know? What do you want the people to know? What do you want them to remember?
I would say, let's see. You should always cook with your friends because it's fun. And me and Emile actually don't know each other that well, so
that's true.
It's cool to just go hang out with somebody random and cook food. You get to know them more.
Well said.
And those are good experiences. Those are the ones you'll remember at the end of the day instead of sitting at home watching Netflix. So my lesson is go do more things and enjoy potato casserole when you have a chance.
Okay. You guys heard it here. Gray, thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it, bro.
All right, bye.
We'll see you guys next time. Oh, I like that.
Oh, good, dude. You like that?
That's a sick. I like that.
Dude, it's honestly not bad, man.
No, it's really good.
I was